I am amazing at procrastinating. I have refined this art to such a high degree that most people don't even think I'm putting any effort into it. However, I've decided to pick up other hobbies like actually contributing to society. The problem is that whenever I'm doing something and it gets me frustrated or I get uncomfortable, I automatically go back to what I'm amazing at. If there was only a way I could stop myself from doing what I love. Sure, there are apps out there for this kind of thing, but none of them really spoke to me. And that's why I'm going to make something custom. So I'm going to make an app, a web app. I'm going to need to put said web app on the World Wide Web. World Wide Web. I'm going to need a domain and server, so I'm going to my favorite hosting platform of choice, which is Marshall Makers, which is also the hosting platform that I own. I'm going to pick a domain, get a small hosting service in the cloud, get my file transfer protocol running, open CyberDuck, make the classic Hello Plebe test page, and boom, it's ready for the web app. I'm going to reopen CyberDuck and move the already done Procrastination Zapper web app file in and call it index.html. Let's check it out. Oh, oops. It looks like I haven't made the web app. No big deal. I just have to add all the excuses that I could possibly have.
2,000 years later.
So, I procrastinated a little bit finishing this video. In the meantime, I did make a whole other website called whatdoiget.com that you could totally check out. The next video I make will probably be about the secret portion of that website. I did figure out how to make the procrastination website though. There were a few solutions to the problem that I ended up exploring. I could have just made a list of excuses that I had and then make another list of answers to why each one of those were bullshit. But that wouldn't have worked because I'm much too clever to just have one excuse. To be honest, this method is lame and lacks ambition. Another option was I could have made a 50-question test, but that would take like a grading scale and me to understand anything about psychology, which is unacceptable. So we have a solution that's too flat, and we have a solution that's too long. I'm going to go ahead and skip over the obvious Goldilocks joke, and seriously, there was a Goldilocks joke that I wrote 2 years ago that was pretty cringe, and tell you what I ended up going with. The solution is a decision tree or a flowchart, depending on which engineering discipline you prefer. Putting a decision tree into a simple table is not a pleasant experience for the uninitiated. However, JavaScript has a variable called an object that you can actually keep cramming nested lists into. So I'm going to just take this whole tree and cram it into one variable with multiple layers. So we're done with the logic part of our app, but now we need to make this actually usable and not painful to look at. That requires formatting it with CSS and animating it with JavaScript. Some prominent YouTubers recommend I skip the coding part because this is when retention drops on the video. So we're just going to go ahead and skip to the final state. There it is. Doesn't code just look neat? For those that have coded before, no, I'm not using a framework. Yes, I know my code is a pile of garbage. But look at this meme that I found that 4.7% of my audience is going to understand. You may be asking why I'm using such a soft-ass color scheme. The answer might surprise you. It's because I'm lazy. It turns out that if you look up color palettes on Google, most of them are just pastel. I made the colors change every time I click so that my overstimulated brain will actually get to the end of my tree. Now, obviously this web app is only for my purposes since I custom built it for me. I'm sure nobody wants to check it out, but I have to put some security on it anyways. Luckily, everyone on the internet is civil and respects people's privacy, so I'm going to put a little notice saying not to use a web app unless you're me. If you've made it to the end of the video, why? If for some odd reason you think I'm responsible enough for a larger audience, then go do the interacting thing with the social overlords underneath this video. I should have a link in the description for whatdoiget.com that if you end up going through that website and purchasing something that's featured on there, I would get some money back, and I will totally spend it responsibly. So I hope this video motivated you to stop procrastinating, but like not enough to stop watching YouTube right now, because otherwise they'd stop recommending my video.